Lilith. You arrive back, Hey! Leave it. You flutter up back to, the top of Castle Ravenloft. You see, Escher and Strahd have torn into the adventures that you've been traveling with over the course of their time in Barovia. You see Eva already, her blood spilled across the stones. You see her laying lifeless at Escher's feet, blood dripping down her neck, and Escher's fangs and chin covered in Eva's blood. He grins at you, and you arrive back on the top of the parapet, and he says, "Come, Lilith, aren't you going to feed?" And Strahd is like in conflict with Ulrich, and their swords are crossing each other. Strahd's three other brides are sort of just watching, laughing and giggling as they watch their lord tear apart these adventurers.
Lilith says, "No, I will not feed." And she'll pull out her crossbow and shoot, not at Strahd, but like near him, just to get his attention.
There's a shower of sparks on the stone as your crossbow bolt strikes it near Strahd's feet. As Ulrich is swinging his sword at Strahd, Strahd grabs his wrist as he's coming down, and he turns to look at you, just sort of easily holding Ulrich's arm there. Ulrich, you see Strahd's tighten his grip on Ulrich's wrist, and Ulrich sort of like moans out in pain and drops his sword and kind of like cowers down a bit. And he turns to you and he says, "You've always been too soft, daughter. You developed too many feelings for these travelers in my realm. Going to have to remedy that. It's not something I will accept from you any longer." And he throws Ulrich's wrist away, and then he, with a great speed, closes in on him and sinks his teeth into Ulrich's neck, who kind of head snaps back in pain as he sort of gurgles and spits out a mouthful of blood.
Father, this isn't right and you know it.
Strahd lets Ulrich drop to the stones, and he says, "Who are you, daughter, to tell me what is right in my own home?" He says, "You have been too unruly your whole life. Perhaps you have too much of your mother in you." And he snaps, and he looks over at the final member of the party you've been traveling with. The tiefling has kind of backed himself into a corner. He's just like unleashing arrow after arrow from his bow into Escher, who's just like looking up at the sky, laughing.
Lilith's gonna close her eyes. Wait, so you said that Strahd is closing in on him?
Yeah. Yep.
She's gonna like look away and shoot her father.
Ooh. Make an attack roll.
Okay. And she's gonna burn a spell slot and use the smite too.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. You unleash a bolt from your crossbow at Strahd's back, and it streaks
Man,
across the top of the keep,
I rolled ones on everything.
piercing through your father's back, the tip of the bolt coming out of his sort of chest cavity as you send through divine energy with the bolt. He looks down at it and snaps off the front of the bolt. And you see him reach behind his back and slowly pull it out. He kind of winces and he turns to look at you, and you feel like the full power and weight of Strahd's dread. His features kind of shift to like the chiseled, stony, handsome form, and he takes on more of a vampiric visage. The bones sort of protrude up from his forehead, and his chin sort of elongates, and his fangs grow longer, and his eyes just become two big black pools of anger and hatred. And he throws the bolt down at the ground, and he says, "This is the last straw."
I don't even know who my mother is.
He, when you say that, there's another flash of lightning across the sky, but this time the white bolt is sort of this eerie purplish magenta color. It illuminates the sky with like a purplish glow, and Strahd, he turns his gaze up towards the sky, which sort of darkens, and you look around, and the cackling has stopped from Strahd's brides and from Escher, and they've both, all four of them with Strahd, are all now looking up at the sky. And Strahd looks over at you, and then over at the final member of your party, and then you see in Escher and the three brides' eyes that same sort of eerie purplish glow their eyes start to illuminate with, and they all turn their attention towards Strahd. Escher, at great speed, flies towards Strahd and swipes at him with one of his claws, and Strahd sort of whisks back and says, "Escher, what are you doing?" And then his brides all at once like pig pile on him, and now they're all clawing and tearing at Strahd together.
I turn to her for a minute and I go, "Run, get out of here." And then she's gonna try and attack Esser and the brides.
Go for it. Make another attack roll.
Okay. It's a 28 to hit, or wait, no, 21 to hit, sorry.
Yeah, you hit one of the brides in her side, and she doesn't even seem to flinch. The four of them seem to be gaining quickly in strength and power, and the three brides are sort of holding Strahd down, who now at this point is barely even able to struggle. This is the first time I think you've ever seen your father appear weak in some sense, and Escher, he's pulling on Strahd's arm. Strahd's arm gets pulled out of his socket completely, and Escher rips one of Strahd's arms off. And there's another flash of that thunder above you, and Escher drops the arm and turns, and then he dashes towards you as you're sort of getting ready to fire another crossbow bolt.
I shoot it.
Make another attack. Make another attack.
Okay. 25.
Your crossbow bolt sinks into Escher, and as he speeds towards you, he doesn't even seem to flinch. And at the last moment, right before he's about to sink his claws into you, a red portal rips open right beside you, and a hand reaches through, and you see like a heavily armored arm come out of the crackling energy of the portal and grab Escher by the throat just before he reaches you. And then the rest of this person steps out, and you see... sorry, I lost a few of my tabs here. You see this sort of darker-skinned man with these piercing yellow eyes in this suit of full plate, sort of dark gothic-looking armor. He's got this billowing red cape that whips out of the portal behind him as he comes through, and he grips Escher by the throat right before Escher sinks his claws into you. And he reaches his arm up and snaps Escher's neck, and Escher sort of goes limp. The light in the eyes of Escher sort of fades. That purple glow kind of fades out. And this man sort of turns and grins at you with his fangs. The three brides that were on top of Strahd, they sort of fan out and back up off of Strahd in like a semicircle, and the three of them look like they're about to dash towards the two of you, and that is where we'll leave you for right now. Mavathor, you are in your temple in Baldur's Gate. And one of your acolytes comes into your your study or whatever you have there, where you spend some of your time alone when you're there, and they say, Lord, there's someone here that wishes to see you. Do you want me to? Sorry, I still got Barovia going on here. They say, there's someone that's here that wishes to see you. Do you want me to send them in?
Did they say what they wanted?
They said they've come to pay their respects to the new Grand Duke of Avernus.
Oh, say, see them in.
They sort of shuffle off and come back a short time later with a tiefling woman. She is she sort of saunters into the room. You see her skin sort of glitters with patches of multicolored scales. She has like a rapier on her side, and she's wearing like a tailcoat that shimmers with the colors of Tiamat. She sort of enters into your chamber a little bit like she kind of owns the place. She plops herself down in like I imagine you might have like a comfortable chair or something in there.
Mm-hmm.
And she sort of kind of leans back and she says, well, I've come to pay my respects to the new Archduke of Avernus. You managed to redeem one Archduke and usurp another in one fell swoop. You must be a capable and ambitious man. I like capable and ambitious men.
I'm sorry, and you are?
Oh, pardon my rudeness. My name is Windfall. And I've come to talk about business.
I'm all about business, but I'm preoccupied at the moment, so go ahead and start talking, and he'll continue writing. Basically,
She
a
seems
writ
she
for-
seems a little annoyed by that. She says, she kind of, I'm the proprietor of the Red Belvedere, one of the last vestiges of Avernus's proud history. It's a place that you guys never visited, but it's essentially a casino in Avernus. She says, seeing as you're the new Grand Duke, I wanted to come pay my respects to you and make sure that we can come to some sort of arrangement where I stay out of your business and you stay out of mine.
Yes. This is very interesting. How did things work between you and Zariel?
Oh, Zariel paid me no mind, really. She was preoccupied with her war, you see. Bell, on the other hand, he just took a small cut of the soul coins I take in.
Right.
What would keep you out of my hair?
Hard to say. Since I think I'm going to be ruling Avernus a little bit more tightly than the previous two predecessors, but as you said, I'm. But as you said, I'm sure we can come to some form of agreement.
Well, I would be happy to fall back into the same arrangement that I had with Lord Bell. He took 10% of the soul coins that I took in every month.
For me, make it 12. And I'm sure an individual such as you hears a lot of rumors and information, and I'd like a little bit of that rumors and information should they come across your capable ears.
You're a shrewd businessman. Another quality that I admire. You drive a hard bargain, Lord Mavathor. But who am I to disagree with the new Lord of Avernus? 12% of the soul coins that I take in, and if I hear anything interesting, I'll make sure that it finds your ears.
He'll, I assume, since he's now an archdevil, he'll produce a infernal contract.
I hate signing these.
That's but that's why we're so popular.
She waves her hand. She says, "Very well. I'm sure that you won't mind if I take a good look at it."
I would think you a fool if you didn't.
She waits for you to write the infernal contract out. But, she says, quite impressive what you and your traveling companions have done. I dare say that you'll be remembered in the history books for quite some time. People will be speaking of the heroes of El Terrell, even perhaps write songs about them. Are you a fan of music theater?
Uh, there are few things that give me headaches quite as much as music and theater.
How does the Lord of Avernus let his hair down, so to speak? How do you unwind?
Wouldn't you like to know?
She says, well, "That's why I'm asking," and she tries to cast a spell on you. Why don't you make a charisma saving throw for me? 31. Do you want to make an Arcana check to?
Sure.
Do it.
It's a simple spell. You believe that she's just tried to pry you a little with a suggestion spell.
His eyes will like snap up to her and say, it'd be a shame if your casino were suddenly reduced to nothing but rubble thanks to the combined forces of the pit fiends.
Oh, come now. We don't have to reduce ourselves to threats here, do we? I was simply curious.
Then I suggest you let your curiosity of me subside.
Very well. I'll keep my curiosities to myself. Are you done writing there?
Yeah, I'll hand it over and I'll have the general points laid out with the, lots of stipulations and if and then sort of wording there.
Is there anything hidden that she needs to make an insight check on?
Um, Currently no, since this is, just a fairly standard contract. But he will take off or, finish signing a piece of paper and hand it to an imp to take back to the Nine Hells requesting a formal meeting of all the archdukes.
She signs on the dotted line, Windfall, in very flourished, well practiced penmanship, and she says, "Well, a pleasure doing business with you, Lord. And I will make sure that any curiosities I hear about will find their way to you, even though you're unwilling to indulge mine."
Such is the
I did
deal done.
I did have one other favor to ask. I do find your journey quite enthralling, impressive. I'd like to pay my respects to the other members of your party if I could, but I'm having trouble locating one of them. Do you have any idea where one of your traveling companions might be lurking about? A woman by the name of Sylvie?
Oh, Sylvie. Can't say that I do know her precise location. If I remember correctly, she was here in Baldur's Gate, but knowing her, she's probably moved on somewhere else.
Unfortunate. I've been having a hard time putting a finger on her, but I'm sure that she'll turn up. Very well. It was a pleasure being in your gracious presence, Lord, and I'm sure that we'll see each other again soon. Of course, you always have a room at the Red Belvedere. You'll get the VIP treatment, of course. But seeing as you don't like to take part in worldly pleasures, I can't imagine I'll be seeing you come through my doors anytime soon.
He'll, kind of give a grin and say, "Yes, I suppose it's important that we keep our noses out of other people's business."
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've learned that about you. She stands up, and some of the like gemstones at the end of her tailcoat sort of jingle, and she does a deft turn on her foot, and she kind of stops and uh, she does say, I heard that you appointed Lazel as your new Forge Master.
Yes, and she's proven to be quite skilled in her craft, and he'll, kind of flash his new gauntlet, which has, like these razor sharp edges on it, and his desk is wooden, but he'll put a notch in it, and it cuts through it like butter.
Windfall says, she is quite skilled indeed. A bright craftsman. She does, however, have a bit of a gambling problem, and she's racked up quite a debt at my establishment. Were you interested in taking care of that tab for her, or should I keep my business dealings between me and her?
How much is the debt?
Do you want the sum totaled in platinum pieces or soul coins?
Both.
She kind of does a little finger count. Well, I'd say if you're talking in soul coins, you won't get my first payment in a solid 6 months or so. Platinum pieces, I'd say maybe 20,000.
Yeah. He kind of like looks at her stunned, is like, all right, I'm going to have to talk to her about this parent gambling issue when I return to Avernus.
A bright craftsman, but not very lucky.
He'll kind of narrow his eyes at her and be like, it does help to be lucky, but if there's one thing I've learned is there's no real such thing as luck in Avernus.
Well, should I let my people know that for the time being she's barred from placing any bets?
Yes, I'll be sure to also tell her that she'll be presently barred from entering your casino for the next 6 months.
Well, then, you'll receive my first payment of soul coins when that time is up.
I'll nod and say, you may see yourself out now.
She jingles as you hear her make her way out down the hall, out of the temple. A bit later into the evening, the same attendant comes back. I suppose at this time you may be growing a little tired, but as you're getting ready to sort of leave, they start back in and they say, "Oh, sorry, Lord, I didn't mean to interrupt you again, but Ilda Raven God is here to see you."
Oh, see him in.
He says, he's waiting out in he's waiting out in the main part of the temple. If you want to join, he's been sitting there for some time actually. If you want to go join him,
He'll, think about how long he's been probably sitting there, and he stands up and stretches before walking out to the waiting area.
You head out into the main part of the temple. You see older sitting in one of the forward pews, sort of in front of the statue of Asmodeus. There's some sort of. I imagine that there's probably like lining around the walls of the temple. There's like big stained glass windows of some of like there's one of like Asmodeus and some other depictions of like parts of Avernus that kind of are around the inner part of the temple, and there's a bit of red glow from the windows sort of like illuminating Older where he sits, and he says it's an impressive dedication, Mavathor.
Thank you for it.
How are things going here?
Well enough. Admittedly, my first month on job of Archduke is a little off to a rough start, but I have no doubt I'll be able to ride the waves.
He says, I wasn't sure at first whether or not a temple dedicated to Asmodeus of this size should have a place in Baldur's Gate, but I think that it has been earned, and as far as I can tell, your new practitioners have adopted a new presence in the city that is quite a bit different than those who followed Asmodeus' teachings before you.
I like to believe that although the law is strict, it is not heartless.
I've come to ask you for a favor, Mavathor.
Seems like everyone wants those nowadays. What can I do for you, Grand Duke?
He says, I've received a request from Daggold Neverember, Lord Protector of Neverwinter. He's asked me if I could convince the saviors of El Terrell to meet him in Neverwinter at the Moonstone Mask. He was not clear in his correspondence in the reasons why he wished to meet with you all, but I at least thought that I would ask.
Well, I can't speak for certain about the other individuals, since it seems that Crayley and Sylvie are, or at least Crayley is put down his sword in favor for a gardening instrument, but and Sylvie, I don't really know where she's off to, and as far as I know, Lep has decided to return to the Feywild, so he might be stuck with just me going.
He's requested you meet him in a 10-day, so you have a bit of time. Speak to the others for me if you could, and if the rest of your companions have decided to go their own way, they've earned that as well. But it never hurts to ask. I have to keep up relationships with the other leaders of the cities, So the least I could do is honor his request to meet you.
Of course. Work of a Archduke or a Grand Duke is never over, is it?
He says, responsibility can be a heavy burden. But what I've learned about you is that you have the fortitude to shoulder it. I can't say that your burden and mine are quite the same, as we shepherd entirely different flocks of sheep, but I can at least understand the tiredness in your voice. It gets better with time once things are in their proper order. I'm sure you know that.
I certainly hope so. I just need to get as many constituents on my side as possible. Since it seems like the other archdukes are already plotting or reveling in my potential downfall.
Well, I'm certainly not dealing with the 9 layers of hell. But at least I believe that Baldur's Gate is going to turn a new leaf. It seems as though a bright future is in store for the people here. As long as we remain diligent in our duties.
I'll nod and say, I certainly hope so. This city deserves to stand as a monument to what us mortal races can achieve.
I found through my own struggles and time that the human spirit is elastic. It can be stretched quite far and always find its original shape once again. The inhabitants of El Terrell and Baldur's Gate alike have been stretched, but we'll find our shape once more.
And say thank you for the pep talk, Grand Duke. I could really have used. I really needed that.
He chuckles and he says, well, just keep your following in order. I don't want to have to be hunting down any cults or anything like that. Make sure they stay on the straight and narrow.
I suspect cults will pop up no matter how hard we try to police the faith of the people.
Either way, I wish you well in all of your future endeavors. And know that if you ever need a pep talk, you know where to find me.
I'll nod and, put a hand on the Older's shoulder and say, I'll keep that in mind.
He stands from the bench and sort of stretches his raven wings out a bit, and he looks around. He says, I like what you've done to the place, truly. And he heads out back into the city. Mercy.
Yes.
Few dozen what now appear to you and your pack to be mindless abominations inside of the Mournlands are now scrambling up this patch of earth towards you and your crew. You hear over the communications, one of the members of your pack, they say, it's too many of them. Head back towards the ship. But it seems as though these creatures are closing the distance at great speed. At the speed that they're coming at you, climbing up the embankment, in a few blinks, they're sort of at the edge, and now groups of these creatures have already clashed into members of your pack. There's like a ringing in your ears as you see before your eyes, one after another, as they are trying to flee back towards the ship, members of your pack being torn apart by this vicious little horde of creatures.
Do I have eyes on what the Lord of Blades is doing, or where he is?
You can't see him visually, but with your hunter's mark, you know he's about 60 feet away from you. Sort of a little off to the east, along the edge of the pit.
Okay, but he's not joining in this just yet.
He's not moving, or joining in, no.
Mercy is going to attempt to cause a distraction or save anyone that she can while giving them the orders to try and get away once there's an opening, and she's going to draw her weapons and she's going to shift in an attempt to possibly save at least a few members of the pack, if not all of them.
As you shift and draw your blades, one of your swords illuminates with a blue glow. The glow of your sword actually pushes some of the mist away, giving you a bit of clarity actually around you in about a 30-foot radius. You can see more clear now that through some of the broken masks, these entities inside these suits, they look like they were all at one point humanoid, but now much of their flesh is decayed away. All of them share one thing in common, is this magenta hued glow in their eyes. As some of these creatures just sort of collapse in on your pack all at once. There's shouting and fighting going on all around you. There's gunfire and there's an explosion off to your left. What kind of distraction do you try to create?
She is going to try and draw any that she can, if there's a group of them close by. Or clustered together, I mean. If there's a group of them that seem more clustered, she's going to try and draw their ire towards herself in order to let the others get away. Okay.
Yeah, there is actually about a quarter of your crew has basically been pig-piled on by a half a dozen of these soldiers, and it's just like a pile of thrashing and clawing, and you try to draw them away, and as you do so, at this point you do see with your hunter's mark that now the Lord of Blades has picked up speed, and he's coming towards the little horde that's come up out of the ditch from behind. You can actually see now that there's a little bit of clarity in the mist. The red glow of the eyes of the Lord of Blades, and sort of from his from the edge of the mist, he kind of appears out, and you can see like these two big curved blades at his back that are sort of spinning. And as you pull the distraction, that pig pile on some of your companions, they do get up and they start to scramble towards you, and through their thrashing and bounding in your direction as you are making your way back towards the ship, fighting off others that are like crashing into you. You see that that little grouping of your companions, your pack is just lifeless. They've been ripped to shreds. And you continue to get pushed back. You see as the chaos is going on all around you, members of your pack are speaking over the comms, and one by one, the silence of the communications in your ear grow fainter and fainter as one by one members of your pack are falling by the wayside. You see as you're kind of looking out across the field now, you can see that in a flash, in an instant, in a few breaths, all of the rest of your pack has been overrun, and you are now about 20 feet away from your ship with the 24 of these creatures bounding towards you. Maybe only one or two of them have fallen in the ferocity and quickness of the conflict. You're the only one left.
When she sees this, she almost loses her mind just from rage and grief. But she wants to make sure that they're honored and will be avenged, so it's going to be with great reluctance that she tries to get herself back to the ship.
As you're in a flash of blades, as these creatures are bumping up against you, your heart is thumping in your chest, and you've got sweat just dripping down your entire body, and you fend off an attack of two of these soldiers that crash into you, just barely pushing them off. They almost take you down, and there's a whooshing sound as two big spinning blades cut through four of these soldiers, just cleaving all four of them in one sweep in half. And as you were getting pressed in on, some of those creatures turn towards the Lord of Blades as he cuts through some of them. And you see the Lord of Blades standing there. He's this 9-foot tall warforged that is just battle scarred. His jagged maw is sort of hanging like loose on one side, and you hear his voice come out. It's almost as it comes out of him, and as he hacks through four of those soldiers and leaving a space there where you kind of, the two of you can see each other fully. You hear his voice come out of him, and he says, "Get out of here." And he turns his back towards you as four more come through, and another big cut of his blades just like cleaves through another group of these, and you stumble back into your ship, and the door closes behind you, and you kind of fall, back up, like kind of on your butt and your back, and you can hear the Lord of Blades cleaving through these guys. Like the ship kind of actually jostles as they push him up against the hull, and you can hear like the fighting going on outside.
Could I attempt to fire any of the ship's weapons without damaging the ship itself, or potentially him, or at least the ship?
Yeah, you make your way to one of the. You push yourself up off the ground, trying to think quickly, and you make your way to one of the weapon stations, which you power on. The ship sort of rumbles to life. You notice on the console, there's a red flashing light, which in your ship signifies that you have received a communication, a message. You turn your attention, though, to the weapon station, and you power it on, and you unleash a hellstorm on the remaining soldiers outside in conflict with the Lord of Blades. Putting bullets through a half a dozen of them, and then it's kind of quiet out there.
Or any way I could communicate very quickly with the Lord of Blades?
Yeah, the ship has an inner communication system and an outer communication system. So there's like a button out there down on the console you could press that would, there's like a speaker outside of the ship that would say, he'd be able to hear.
She's gonna hit that button and just address him. Get in quickly if you want to leave. Otherwise, you'll stay here alone.
The Lord of Blade, his blade, the big blades on his back, and this three-bladed glaive that he has, his blades all stop spinning, and he turns and he looks at your ship, and you hear his voice kind of emanate out from him again. And he says, "You shouldn't be in the Mournlands. The war might be over out there, but in here, the Warforged still fight." And he turns and sort of disappears into the mist, off until a distance of where you can no longer track him with your hunter's mark even.
He's walking away. She's just going to yell through the comms, "I'll be back to find you one day, and you will give me answers." And then she'll just shut it off almost angrily and direct the ship to depart. Once she's safely out of the Mournlands, the grief is going to hit, dropping her to her knees, and what starts out as just a howl of pain slowly morphs into an inhuman scream as her fur retracts and she is left alone on the ship.
Your ship your ship lifts as you sort of turn on the autopilot function, and it lifts off and starts to make its way out of the Mournlands as you're consumed by your grief. After you let out your bestial howl, your head kind of raises up, and the you wipe the tears welling out of your eyes, and most of the instrumentation is sort of in like a sleep mode. The ship's just using enough power to kind of fly its way out of the Mournlands, but you can still see that red flashing button on the console signifying that you have a message.
She's going to drag herself up to her feet and check to see what the message is.
You turn the screen on and press the button, and a man appears on the screen. This message is from Derek Velderan, who is the head of the Finders Guild. And his message essentially is saying, greetings, Mercy. I'm just checking in to see how your mission is going. If you have located the Lord of Blades, we are looking forward to your swift return. We know that you and your crew are the best, and we will hopefully see you shortly. He says, and upon your return, we have another mission ready for you that we think you might be very interested in. And the screen shuts off.
At this point, he's
like cheery and optimistic, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it fuels that anger, and a part of her begins to wonder if they knew anything about the creatures down there. And didn't say anything. And she fully intends to wring answers out of someone once she returns.
That's interesting.
In the meantime, while she's in transit, she will take the time to separate a lock of hair and braid a strip of leather and beads into it, the colors of the members of her pack that were most favored. And as she does so, she's going to make a silent oath in their memories.
Lepus, you awaken a little before Phalaxis. To the, there's still like a morning chirping of birds, but when you open your eyes, like the horizon is still like this endless sunset. Although some of the thin layer of starlight is kind of faded away. Phalaxis's eyes kind of flutter open shortly after, and maybe you've had a little bit of time to brew some morning tea, but
yeah, he hands him a cup.
He takes a sip and he says, "Wow, it really is warm and cold at the same time. How do you do that?"
See, I don't know. It's a whole process. I could explain more on the way there.
He takes in a deep breath. He takes in a deep breath and he says, "I can almost smell home. Are you ready? Let's be on our way."
Yeah. Okay.
You guys get up and you travel, maybe another half day or so, and Phalaxis kind of stops abruptly and he points up ahead and he says, "Look." And you can see this sort of line in the forest where it turns from like conifer trees into, a luscious, vibrant, colorful forest. Unlike anything on the material plane here. And Phalaxis says, "It always happens just when you're not really thinking about it."
Yeah.
And you can see coming towards you in this space between the where the forest changes, an old friend of yours, Twig.
Oh. Hi, Twig.
He's wearing like a little green velvet vest emblazoned with the emblem of the Sealy Court. He has his glasses pushed high up on the bridge of his squirrel nose, and he's kind of bounding towards you. He stops right at the edge of the forest and waits for the two of you to approach.
Lep approaches with Phylaxis. I imagine like slightly behind though, because he's nervous.
He stands there silently, sensing your nervousness, waiting for you to speak.
Hi, Twig. You remember Phylaxis?
He looks up at Phylaxis and back at you, and then he pulls out the parchment from a little breast pocket and unfolds it. And he looks down at it and back up at you again, and he says, I, Twiggus Snorrel, Duke of the Trees, hereby banish you from entering the Feywild by royal decree of the Sealy Court. From this day forth, you shall never again experience the beauty and light or the benevolence and joy of the Feywild. You failed to uphold the justice and honor beset upon you by Queen Tatiana. I'm sorry, Lepus. And then he turns to look at Phylaxis, and he says, As for you, Phylaxis, as a warden of the Sealy Courts, you will be given a chance to tell your story. Your fate is yet to be decided, and you must come with me now. I will give a few moments for the two of you to say your goodbyes. And he takes a few steps back into the forests of the Fey.
Lep's mouth is open. He's trying to process what he just heard. Wait, what?
You want me to read it again?
Oh, no. It's okay. It's okay. I'm sorry. Are you gonna go with him, Phylaxis?
Phylaxis, he's sort of looking at you with like a tear welling up in one of his eyes, and he wipes it away, and he says, I've been summoned by the Sealy Courts. I'm bound to follow. I could not say no if I chose to, for I know that I swore an oath to always come when Queen Tatiana calls.
Yeah, he did. Okay. Lep hugs him, and Lep is like slightly crying a bit now.
He hugs you back, and as he pushes away from you, he's got his hands on your shoulders, and he says, I'm not going to leave you here. I will petition as hard as I can for your return, and as soon as I've settled my fate with the court, I will return for you. Whether they allow you entrance once again into the Feywild or not. This oath I swear as well.
Okay. Thank you.
He uses druidcraft, and he begins to sort of wind this complicated twine with his fingers. Little threads of magic weave it together, and forms a little ring. And he takes your hand and he slides it on your finger, and he says, I always keep my word. And, he turns and he moves. He takes like one step over into the Fey Forest and turns back and just kind of looks at you for a moment. And as soon as he steps across the plain, the forest of the Feywild disappears, and all you see is like the normal sort of conifer forest around you. The sun is like full high noon in the sky directly above your head. Instantly, you can like kind of feel the warmth of it on you, and you're left there alone in the forest.
Lep sort of looks at the ring and then looks at himself. Huh. Maybe Mavithor can give me a ride home. And he sort of his wings sprout and he flies back towards Elturel while also trying to get in contact with Mavithor through whatever means.
Do you have any means?
He has commune. He has like, I don't know if he was ever given a pin by Order to like do the sending thing.
It'd be out of range. It's like a
Yeah.
close quarters thing.
Yeah, he just, the only thing he could think of is plane shift, and I don't think he wants to do that. So he just flies back.
You make it back to. Do you go to Boulder's Gate or El Terrell?
Oh, he goes to Baldur's Gate.
Y-
He was like heading for Mavithor's temple.
Okay, yeah. And after a couple days, you make it back to Boulder's Gate. You can see the walls of the city, the gleaming waters of the harbor. Ever since the return of El Terrell, the foggy fog that sort of clings to Boulder's Gate has been nowhere to be seen. And you fly to the Temple of Asmodeus in Little Kalimshan. I would say Mavithor's probably present. So yeah, you find like one of his clergy and you ask, and Mavithor, you're in your study, and there's like a knock at the door, and say, Master Lepus is here to see you, Lord.
Oh, just like the pen in his hand just like cracks as he's like writing something. And he says, "Oh, fine, I'll see what he wants," and I'll stand up and walk out to see Lep.
Lep is sitting, and I think he looks at you, and you can see his eyes are like freshly stained with tears, and he looks kind of worse for wear.
He'll clear his throat and then take a seat next to him on the pew and say, so what is it this time, Lep?
I've been banished from the Feywild, and Valaxis is currently in court trying to argue his case so he is also not banished. And I just spent a couple of days flying over here, and I'm really tired. And I thought I would try to see you because I need someone to talk to. And Lathander doesn't talk to me, and I'm really scared. I'm really sad, and I haven't had tea in the past like couple of days, and I just need a hug. Can I have a hug? Can I hug you?
I'll kind of, try and deflect from the situation and say, well, didn't you kind of expect this outcome to be banished? I mean, I've heard rumors about the Archfey, and they never forgive or forget.
Yeah, I was trying to tell Valaxis that, but you wanted to go, and I couldn't really say no. I just wasn't expecting it to go like that.
Yeah. Seems like this is a common trait in your family somehow that someone ends up getting pushed away from someone they love very much.
Yeah. Is it a curse? Do you think it's a curse? Do you think we do some weird like research thing and pass some weird ass trials and like try and do something about this? Or do you think it's like history repeating itself? Is this like some like magic thing? Mavithor, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what I'm doing. I've only been like a cleric for like a month.
He'll grab Let by the shoulder and just like slap him across the face. So snap out of it.
Sorry.
It's like, no, I don't think this is a curse to you or your family. Admittedly, it would be fairly in line that someone related to what you said it was Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
It's very in line that someone related to Baba Yaga should have misfortune placed upon them, but I don't see how that will. I don't see how you wallowing will affect your current situation.
Okay. But what am I supposed to do?
Well, as it stands, I actually think I have something for you to do. I got approached by Grand Duke Ravengard, and apparently the rulership of Neverwinter wants an audience with the heroes of El Torel.
Oh. Why?
I don't know. And seems like the Grand Duke didn't have information either. But knowing the people of the Sword Coast, I assume they have a problem and they want us to fix it.
Oh. Well, maybe that can take my mind off of everything.
Probably be best. Why don't he'll reach into his pocket and put a few gold into Lap's hand. He says, "Why don't you go visit the Golden Bubble? I find a good meal and a long boiling hot bath to be quite relaxing."
Oh. Yeah, I probably should. Last time I went, I didn't pay in gold and I got scolded.
What windfall would be to give to be a fly on the wall just then?
Right.
Well, Mavitha, why don't you join me? I mean, you've been so busy. I haven't seen you in like ages. You never respond when I give you like new teas.
Lip, I know the topic of shouldering responsibility might be a little bit of a sore spot for you, but I unfortunately do not have the luxury of that.
Taking time to
One of
yourself.
the acolytes nearby, your main like servant who brings messages back and forth, who's kind of lingering. He says, "Actually, my lord, you have really nothing else to do today."
See? It's like the gods are smiling on me.
He'll shoot a message. He'll like shoot a look at the acolyte, basically saying, "In top left corner, Mavithor will remember this."
Yeah, but before you even like finish turning your head, he's like gone stiff and he's like shuffling away.
Not just like grab like your arm, he's like jumping up and down like a child. It's like, come on, Naruto, please, please, please. It'll be fun.
All right, let me just check to see if my messenger imp hasn't come back yet, and see if
Your inbox is empty, Mavithor.
all right. Yeah.
Mavithor jumps out the window.
Maybe this is a sign from Asmodeus. Maybe he wants you to take a day off. Well, an hour off. I don't know.
Oh. Yeah. This just really isn't a good time, but
You have nothing
Suppose I-
else to do. Would
I
you really
guess.
leave a friend in like me in pain?
I've done much worse, but
Well, yeah, but that was then. This is now.
I suppose if Asmodeus needs me, he'll contact me directly. But fine, I'll go with you, Lep.
Yay! Oh, it'll be so much fun. And I get to have all the new tea flavors I've been trying to brew. Oh, they're so good.
You guys head over to the Golden Bubble. It's been a while since you've been. As soon as you enter, the two of you actually see Cormilla stationed at the desk. Can't believe I pulled that name out of my bag.
Long time ago.
Who seems beaming to see you. She sort of takes in a big breath. She says, "Oh my gosh, it is the saviors of El Terrell. I cannot believe it. To think that, not so long ago you were bathing in my baths. Even before, oh my god, I'm at a loss for words. You'll have to tell me all about your event." And she's like ushers you into like an empty bathroom, and soon after there's like plates of like meats and cheeses brought in, and a couple of finely vintaged wines, and she gets you guys all bubbled up, and you guys have a nice spa day. I was hoping to reach a certain point tonight. This is, I promise this is all coming together. Can I squeeze like 40 minutes out of you guys?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
for
I
sure.
think we can
Yeah,
make
I'm good.
Okay, cool.
Not doing anything tonight.
All right.
It's session 0. It's the most important one.
All right, cool.
I tend to be an insomniac.
Yeah, me
so-
too. I know.
Same.
Same.
Woo!
All right. The three brides of Strahd rush towards you and this new gentleman who has appeared on the ramparts of Strahd's castle, Ravenloft. You see Cass has a long, like, hand-and-a-half sword sheathed at his side, which he doesn't even draw as the three brides of Strahd, with their the purple hue in their eyes, rush towards you at even like, you know, vampire speed is pretty fast. This is like vampire speed times 2. They come like in a blinding flash, and it's even a little fast for your eyes, Lilith, and you hear like a snapping of bone, and you look down, and in the blur, like one of the three brides is kind of body's bent and twisted, and Cass like leans down and then huffs another one off his back. She goes flying over the edge of the ramparts, and you hear the stones like crack a few moments later below, and then the third one, even after these two deaths, like, it seems like it's just, it has no other sensation or but to attack. And it, even despite the quick 2 deaths of the other 2 brides, the last one doesn't even seem to notice. But Cass was kind of distracted by those 2, and the third one, Lilith, you see it coming in right for this man's throat, and you have like a moment there to act.
Okay. Lilith is going. Oh god. Oh Jesus. Okay. She is going to. Oh my god. Thunder Smite. And it's a DC 17 Strength save. And she's gonna do that with Dark Sister,
Ooh.
which is a 27 to hit.
Yeah, you definitely hit.
Okay.
You draw your sword, and the blade sinks into the final bride as you smite. Is there any like after effects of Thunderous Smite? What is the? Oh yeah, maybe I'll just click on this.
Oh, I didn't mean. I meant to click on the spell, not that.
Or be pushed 10 feet away from you. Okay.
Yeah.
The speed at which she was moving, you drive Dark Sister into her, and as she kind of sort of get in between the bride and this newcomer, and the force of her speed kind of knocks you, and as you get like knocked off to the side, as you strike and Thunder Smite, it blows her back as well, and she goes tumbling off the ramparts. And a few moments later, there's another crack in the stones below, and the two of you sort of glance down over, and both of the brides are sort of side by side, kind of bent and twisted and lifeless. The glow is faded from their eyes, and you see that your father has pushed himself up against the wall of the rampart. He's like staring at his arm that's been pulled out of his socket. And or the man sort of kneels down in front of Strahd and like, tries to get him to look at him, and says, "You'll be all right, buddy." And he stands up and he sort of like starts walking around. He's like looking around. He said, "So this is Castle Ravenloft. I've heard so much about it. It's a pretty nice place, actually. I like it."
It is actually not very nice in here.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot better than my keep currently. Sorry, so rude of me. My name is Cass. You are?
Lilith.
Lilith, a pleasure to meet you. And he holds out his hand.
She just kind of stares him up and down.
I understand. I have that effect on women. He says, maybe I'll be a bit more formal about this then, if we're going to do it this way. I'm Lord Cass, master of another realm of dread called Tovag. Currently, my house is overrun with these abominations that I just killed. I've had to flee my realm because really there's nothing left. Fortunately, I've been around a very long time, and I happen to have a secret bit of knowledge that probably you don't.
And what is that?
I happen to know that these creatures are the work of a horrendous, vicious, treacherous, terrible man. I don't know. Maybe you've heard of him. His name is Lord Vecna.
My father would tell me stories of him to give me nightmares.
Well, he goes by many names over the years. He's known as the Undying King. Some people call him the Whispered Tyrant. The One-Eyed God. He's got you know what I'm saying. He has lots of names. It's busy.
Lots of names, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it just so happens that I used to be good friends with this Lord Vecna. That is why I recognize his handiwork. He has been away for a time, but it seems as though my old friend is on the move. I know that whenever he decides to show his face around, he's up to no good, and so, seeing as he destroyed my realm and everything, I have nothing better to do anymore. I've happened to make a deal with the dark powers that run things here in the Shadowfell, and they've agreed to set me free if I put a stop to Lord Vecna's busy business.
Nothing ever comes good out of dark powers.
Oh, nevertheless, they made me a pretty good deal. He says, I'm going to be heading to the prime material plane soon. If you want to help me with my plot to interfere with Vecna's plans, I don't know what they are right now, but I do know that he's returned.
I do admit I don't want this place being run over. If I come with you, you must let me bring my pet.
He says, you're, I suppose I should ask, are you bound to this place eternally like I was to my realm?
Well, of course not. I can leave at will. I just am cursed to where I can't stay in the same place for more than a few weeks at a time.
I tell you what, it looks like I interrupted a few things here. If you wish to help me, meet me at the place in the city of Neverwinter on the prime material plane called the Moonstone Mask in a 10-day. Bring whatever beast that you wish. You're a free woman, it sounds like.
Thanks. She calls things over.
If I see you there, then I know that I have an ally in my mission, and if not, no hard feelings.
She just kind of looks at him.
Oh, well, okay, very good. This has been a wonderful start to a relationship, and once you sort things out here with your lord, help him put himself back together there, maybe I'll see you again sometime soon. And he draws his sword, and he taps it a couple times on the stonework of Castle Ravenloft, and a red portal rips open, and he kind of steps halfway through, and before he goes all the way, he turns back, he says, "That was a nice move, by the way," and then he disappears into the portal.
All right, father, let's get you patched up.
Strahd stands up and picks up his arm. He says, I would forbid you to go anywhere with that man, but it seems as though the more important matters I had mentioned earlier may be intertwined with him. And he lets out a sigh and he says, I'm disappointed in you, daughter.
What else is new?
The two of you head down into the bowels of Castle Ravenloft. Your father sort of retreats into his coffin. How does Lilith feel about this Dreadlord Cass, who has asked for your assistance?
Oh god, I feel like there's no way in hell like that she doesn't believe him just because of the fact that there's just so much weird shit going on. But I think a part of her is also like, why the hell did he appear out of fucking nowhere just to like ask me to help him? Like, what's so special about me? You don't just come to the Mist. You don't just come to Barovia, you know? So I feel like there's a part of her that feels like this is much more significant than what she originally believes, but like at the same time, it's also like this is a strange man. I'm going to follow a strange man into an unknown location.
Has Lilith ever traveled to the material plane before with like the Vistani or anything?
I don't think I feel like she hasn't gone to the material plane. I feel like she has gone as far as the Shadowfell. Like, go to the Shadowfell like once in a great while, but never for too long and never outside there.
Are you going to take the strange man up on his offer to meet him at the Moonstone Mask?
I feel like she thinks about it long and hard, and she's just like, you know what? I just want to get away from my father. I just want to get away from everything. I'm leaving.
He's gonna be really grumpy when he comes out of his coffin, for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
She don't want to deal with that.
You gather some things together and rouse Fang to your side and prepare yourself to travel to the material plane. You have a 10-day before you have to be at this location that the man mentioned. Is there anything in particular you would do at that time?
I feel like since this is like her first time in the material plane, she's just kind of like taking in her surroundings and looking around and seeing how bright everything is compared to Barovia.
I mean, like before you leave.
Oh, before I leave. I feel like should probably say goodbye to Piddlewick.
You say goodbye to your friend and you find a wagon of Vistani preparing to leave Strahd's realm and hitch a ride. They travel the roads that lead through the gates of Barovia and out into the mists, and travel through the mist for a time, and eventually the mists fade and the road sort of smooths out, and you come out onto sort of a well-traveled road that sort of to the west of you, there is a tall, jagged cliff face that looks out over a far-stretching emerald sea. When the Vistani make the passage through the mists and into the material plane, you feel the cool air, and there is like an explosion of sunlight. There are.
She hisses. She's like,
there are. You come into a busy road as the Vistani's colorful wagons kind of clunk along. They stop like later in that evening and set a camp about another day's travel away from the city of Neverwinter. And that's where we'll leave you for the moment. Lilith, Mercy.
Mm-hmm. Very angry, Mercy.
Mercy, your ship finds its way to a docking station at the headquarters of House Thrask at the Finders Guild. You are very familiar with the man who sent you the message to your ship, Derek Belderan. You've had many interactions with him over time. And you make your way out of your ship in through the trader or the Finders Guild and to where Derek Belderan's offices and quarters are in the station.
Is the door shut?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. She will knock and wait for a response.
Yeah, you bang on the heavy metal door, and after a few moments, they part, opening into his like personal quarters, and he stands to greet you with like a cheerful stride, but then he sort of notices that the state that you're in, and stops, and he says, "Mercy, what's going on?"
She's going to shut the door and just march up to him. I imagine she probably towers over him because she's nearly 7 foot tall.
Yeah, he's about 6 feet tall. He's like
Yeah.
he's a fairly broadly built gentleman. He has like darker skin and a cleanly, like, freshly shaven head with like a razor blade, that he does every morning. A tightly kept dark beard, and he's got like his uniform on with a set of like steel pauldrons.
Her face is just going to be in a snarl, which shows off the sharpened canines, and her voice is just going to be a low growl. Veldran, did you give me all the information you had for that mission?
Bilderan says, it is not in the nature of the Finders Guild to send our contracts out without all the information we can gather. Especially for you and your crew, Mercy. We would never leave you unprepared.
Then pray tell me, why did we find creatures digging into the earth with maroon eyes that tore my pack to shreds?
Belderan says, Mercy, I'm sorry for the loss of your companions, but it is common knowledge that the Mournlands are quite dangerous. There are things inside of the mists that are still unknown to us. That is why we chose you.
Companions. And she's just going to grab him by the front of his shirt, not in a particularly aggressive way, like she actually means to hurt him, but she's just going to draw his face closer to hers. They were my family, and we were aided by the one you sent us there to find. I was the only one who made it out. And if our business relationship means anything to you after all these years, you will help me find out what those things were. I imagine she's probably acting more aggressive than he's seen her. And it's very obvious why.
Milderin says, he's probably not used to being treated in this manner. He sort of looks down at your hands and back to like the pain in your face, and he's about to speak, but then he sort of changes his mind and he says, I know the nature of my tone will not convey this to you properly, but you do have my deepest condolences for the loss of your family, Mercy. You and your crew have been more than accommodating, in fact integral, to the success of the Finders Guild over these last decades. I certainly wished nothing ill to befall your pack, or you, in sending you on this mission. We did so because you have always been the best at what you do.
She'll just kind of scoff and let go of him, taking a step back.
He says,
I am the last Hellrose, and I will not rest until I have avenged them all.
He says, the Finders Guild will take it upon ourselves to rectify this situation. I will make sure personally that the resources are allocated to discovering the nature of these creatures that you said you found, if you allow me access to the records of your ship.
You'll have the records and what I saw. There was interference there. And the Lord of Blades said something odd as I was leaving. He said the war may have ended out here, but it still rages there. He helped me, Velderan.
That doesn't change the actions of the Lord of Blades during the 100 Years' War. It is not for the Finders Guild to make judgments on the acquisitions that we are paid to take. We were offered a hefty sum to retrieve the Lord of Blades from the mists. It is a job, like any other.
Don't misunderstand. I took the job. It will be finished. But I also owe him a debt.
Well, I would not ask you to go back there on your own. Permission to speak frankly. Perhaps you should allow
Hello?
Yeah. Did I cut out again?
What happened?
Can you guys hear me, or did I cut out?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Velderan says, permission to speak frankly to you, Mercy. I could not...
You know I prefer that.
I could not bring myself to send you back into the mists on your own. You should allow the Finders Guild to finish the mission regarding the Lord of Blades and investigate further these creatures that you have recorded during your mission. Perhaps it's best if you take yourself off-world for a while. If you're up to the task, I have another important mission that only I believe someone with your skill set could accomplish. Maybe it'll help you take your mind off your loss.
Don't insult me. I am fine. I still will do my job. If you have work for me, I will do it. The rewards will help me restock before I return there. And if you have any suggested companions, I may be willing to take them along, as long as they can be useful.
Belderan says, well, I will leave the choice of your new companions up to your discretion. This will be the farthest reaching mission that you've ever accepted from us. And he goes over behind his desk and pushes a button, and like a holographic little image comes up of a scaled tiefling woman in a colorful coat. And it kind of rotates around, and Belderan says, this woman we know only as Windfall. She is wanted for selling war secrets that they believe could have possibly led to the events of the Day of Mourning, the destruction of the nation of Seer and the Mournlands. We've traced the signature of her ship to another plane of existence, a place known as Toril. She has landed somewhere near a city they call Neverwinter. Windfall is resourceful, ruthless, and incredibly dangerous. You should take the proper precautions should you accept this mission, and perhaps procure some allies in this world called Toril before confronting her.
Very well. I accept. I could use a good fight, so let's hope she is as deadly as you claim. Dead or alive.
Belderan smiles at you, and he says, now that's the Hell Rose spirit that I know. We will accommodate you with the things that you need for your journey. He places like a sack of coin up on the table. He says, this is the currency that they use there in this world. And there's 100 platinum pieces inside. From what we've gathered about this world of Toril, it is more primitive than ours. They are a world of sword and sorcery. They pray to pantheon of gods, and I will upload that information to your ship before you leave. This mission will be dangerous, and you will be far out of reach of communication with us. But I hope to see you return. And when you do, we will know more about these creatures. And then we can discuss what is to be done about the Lord of Blades.
She will just nod and take the coin pouch, but before she leaves, she'll ask for a piece of paper to write down everything she can remember. And she does have keen mind, so she'd be able to remember very precise details. Just to give him all the information she possibly can.
You give him a detailed report of the encounter you had in the Mournlands, leaving nothing out. And Veldoran says, diligent as always, Mercy. He says, we will install a fresh power source in your ship that will leave you with enough energy to travel to this world of Toril and back again. And commission you with an appropriate amount of dragon shards.
Anything else?
You're diving into the unknown, Mercy. Be careful out there.
What else is new? And she'll just turn around and leave. She is intending to just go basically take a bath because she hasn't since she left the Mournlands.
Mm-hmm.
And just make sure she's stocked and head out as soon as she possibly can.
Sounds good. You do so, and by the time you return to your ship, it is been refitted with a new power crystal that will see you through your journey through the astral sea to this world of Toril. And you leave the port station you're docked at the Finders Guild, and as you sort of ascend out into the atmosphere of Eberron, the little world below you fades away, and your ship blends in to the stars. You power on the drives that take you through interplanar travel, and your ship begins to barrel through the astral sea towards another world. And I gotta say, I am thrilled that I get to dip into some of this sci-fi music a little bit.
Woohoo!
All right, let me just get some little adjustments here. I'm going hoarse, you know? All right. One way or another, maybe I'll just start with this. Oh yeah,
Hi.
yeah, that sounds good. Let's do just like there's like one little chunk left here. We're almost at the end. But Xander needs a little break, so let's just do like another quick little 5-minute here, and we'll come back for like the tail end.
Sounds good.
The cliffhanger, if you will.